back to FANSPLAINED, a media criticism podcast with Ryan and Em. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Em.
In this episode, we're beginning a sort of spin-off series of reactions to the new episodes of Moon Knight called the Chibi Moon Knight series.
Yes.
Instead of Chibi Sailor Moon, it's Chibi Moon Knight. And we're basically doing this just so we can get our reactions out there. We'll actually go super in-depth with this when we get there in the chronology of all the MCU stuff, but obviously we're not there yet.
Yeah, this is basically just a quick reaction to a current show that we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is the second time we're recording it also, because I messed up with the mic the first time. So we'll be releasing this probably around the same time that we're releasing our very late Iron Man 3 episode, and then we'll be doing Thor: The Dark World within the next couple of days.
It's fine.
Hopefully. Anyway, so welcome to the Chibi Moon Knight series. We just started Moon Knight with the first episode. It's called The Goldfish Problem.
Yes. And I loved it.
It's very cute.
As far as first episodes go, I think it was a very strong one. I think it worked really well in introducing the character, introducing the premise, the concept.
It comes hard. It comes out hard.
It comes out swinging.
Yeah, it really does. I was screaming within the first couple minutes because my feet still hurt.
I loved the visual storytelling going on and how both introductions to the characters are not only zero exposition or voiceover, it's both of them just have songs overlaid, and you get to see the great visual storytelling of their habits, how they are, what they do to start the day, any day, and I thought it was very effective.
It really was.
And I mean, I'm such a nerd for visual storytelling done well.
Yes.
Because I feel like it kind of is becoming a lost art in some ways, and it's definitely rare in Marvel movies.
Yeah, which we'll get to when we get to our actual Iron Man 3 episode.
Yeah.
We're not going to bog this one down with that.
No. We have enough to say in that one.
So, I know we don't want to get super into the details, but knowing how we handle, like, the TV shows, and we don't tend to do, like, writers and directors per episode, I did want to share a little tidbit with you.
Oh.
Just a little tidbit. So, the director of this episode, and he will be the director of, like, the third, and then, like, the last two episodes. So, he's doing 4 total.
Yeah.
And he's one of the executive producers of the show. His name is Mohammed Diab. I know that I am butchering the pronunciation of that. I tried to look it up, and it looked like a Diab.
I remember.
I could be pronouncing it really badly. We definitely did.
When we first saw it, my brain...
ADHD brains really liked it as Muad'Dib.
From Dune.
I make no apology for the Dune references that come out anytime we actually hit the desert.
That's not how you pronounce his name, but that's how my brain read it immediately.
I think it's Diab, or... Yeah, I think it's Diab is probably the closest that I'm going to get to it that sounds even remotely correct. So I apologize in advance if I am butchering that. So he's an Egyptian screenwriter and director, and he tends to do a lot of very, like, socially minded movies.
Yeah.
He hasn't done, like, a whole lot of them, but he tends to be very into, like, depicting contemporary Egyptian social issues.
Yes.
So his directorial debut was a movie called Cairo 678, which is a movie about a trio of female vigilantes taking on, like, this epidemic of sexual harassment in Cairo.
Ooh.
This movie was not planned, obviously, but released a month prior to the Egyptian Revolution.
Holy shit.
It is also noted as one of the, if not the, most award-winning contemporary Egyptian film.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he does a lot of stuff like that, but, like, his idea behind... because, like, Marvel approached him out of the blue.
Yeah.
To do Moon Knight. And so, like, he got together with his wife, who's also a screenwriter, and they sent over, like, a draft with all of, like, their envisioning for the show. So a lot of, like, the show wanting to depict, like, Egyptians as actually, like, normal people and not do it in this very Orientalist, you know, ancient Egypt is the only Egypt.
Or, like...
kind of stuff.
Or, like, othering.
Yeah, because he thinks that a lot of American cinema tends to orientalize Egyptians because it does.
It does.
But, like, a lot of his emphasis here is, like, well, people tend to forget that, say, the pyramids of Giza are right next to, you know, a modern city.
Yeah.
It's not you know, you're not just going in to see the pyramids all
also,
by themselves.
we don't need another Gods of Egypt.
No, God, no. Oh.
We don't need that.
If this was that quality, we'd be having a very, very different discussion. But yeah, so he's doing the directing on the pilot, the finale, and then the middle of the show, basically.
Well, I am very glad to have him involved with all of that.
It really worked very well so far.
So, I mean, so far, just visually, I think they have a very keen eye for this kind of thing. But also, I can very much appreciate them getting someone who actually is interested in writing about Egypt in that way. That's you know, a thing you want in something like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not even... like, he kind of storyboarded it, but... He's mostly directing it. He's not like he doesn't have like specific writing credits, at least as far as I could see. That was mainly like their main writer on it, whose name is Jeremy Slater, I believe. We'll dig into that more when we actually get into like the show long form.
Yes.
I don't really want to get into a ton of that right now. I just wanted to share that with you so that we had a basis. I know that I don't want to get into.
This is supposed to be a quick episode compared to our normal ones,
I know
madam.
That. I know that. I just wanted to share that with you.
Okay, well,
because it's really the only like super hardcore detail I have about anything.
Okay, well, we don't need the other ones.
Well, I know that.
Just like good on Oscar Isaac for getting to executive produce this, good on him for getting a starring role in this, and also I need to say that Oscar Daddy was perfect in this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mark, I'm glad that they introduced Steven before Mark. I think that works a lot better than the other way around.
Yeah, I think it does
Steven is very endearing, but also you can kind of relate to him just feeling...
not understanding what's going on. You're figuring things out as he does.
Not only that, but just trying to get by in everyday life. Like, he's not... I don't think he's trying to be... No one ever really tries to be a loser in their life, but Steven's just like, man, I'm just trying to live here, you know?
Yeah. What's up, Karen? I know her name's not Karen.
It's Donna.
Donna.
Fucking Donna.
God. Which is unfortunate because the last major character named... I mean, she's not even a major character, but the last major character named Donna was from Doctor Who, and I like that Donna. This Donna gives Donna's a bad name.
Like, when we were watching it, I literally said, you're a mean girl, you're a bitch, Donna.
I mean, it's true. She's awful.
She is so awful to him. Like just immediately.
Like, he's literally freaking out about somebody following him
and
at
all
one
she
point,
can
and he
do...
comes into work being like, somebody's following me, and the security guard isn't taking him seriously either, because of course he isn't, because he's a crappy security guard.
He doesn't even know his name.
Right. Which just adds this other layer of confusion onto things, because we already don't know what's real and what's not, and then you have this dude, like, using the wrong name, and we're like, is that one of the personalities, or is he just using the wrong name?
Yeah.
He's just using the wrong name.
Yeah.
But, like, he comes in freaking out about this, and she, like, waylays him in the middle of the fucking museum lobby and be like, I need you to do this inventory stuff right now.
Right now. And I'm like, Donna!
Girl, this is not that pressing. It's a gift shop. Can you calm down?
Donna, this can fucking wait.
Donna, we don't care.
Get off my dick.
But when he is trying to fix things, she doesn't care.
No, she doesn't.
You know, when he's doing his...
Like, that is not correct.
Moment.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. She's like, you're such a nerd. I just whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, but he actually has a passion and a knowledge for these things. So I don't know. Maybe have him be a tour guide.
You're just trying to be a tour guide, and my answer's still no because you're such a dweeb.
And what's so wrong with him being a tour guide? I don't understand that part.
I feel like we will probably find out that is due to the fact that he is incredibly unreliable.
Probably.
And can't really tell time properly because Mark's really not helping out in that department.
Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to
he's missing days at a time.
Yeah, I really like how we see it from his perspective, where 1 minute he's doing one thing and the next, like, literally no time has gone by in his mind, in his perspective.
Yeah, he just blinks in and out.
Blinks in and out, and it's just completely different.
Yeah, his consciousness is, like, his experience is given in his specific consciousness. He doesn't really, like, we don't jump from Steven to Mark.
No, we see it purely from Steven's perspective, and I think
up until the end of it.
Yeah, and I think that is a serious strength of this story.
So too, because it's really helping out in its depiction of this very serious mental health condition that Mark has. Steven has. They both have.
And also it's just demonstrating just not only how inconvenient, but also just how scary it is. I mean, I
want to know whose mom is Steven talking to, if that's his mom.
Who he's going
if it's Mark's mom.
Who he's going Later's Gators to.
Yeah, which is
so
adorable.
Cute. It's very cute.
Which is adorable, but yeah, who is like the primary personality here? I don't know. I'm like, the show right now is telling us basically it's Steven, because the show chose to open on him, but really every personality in that could very well think that it was the primary personality.
Yeah, because I kind of
in that scenario.
I think that's how it kind of works. I mean,
I would assume, because, like, the way that they depict this is Steven doesn't really experience anything that Mark does.
No.
Up until the very end when Mark is, like, literally getting in contact with him.
Yeah, they make contact with each other. I mean, this show is already showing great potential in the horror aspect and horror elements, which I greatly appreciate. I also appreciate already how its depiction of violence is not, like, over the top, but it's, like, just the right amount to get across that, this is closer to Daredevil than not, in terms of how dark we're gonna go. I mean, I wouldn't know, because I haven't seen it. I know.
I got...
shame on you.
I know, and I'll still end up watching it, but, like, it's just...
No.
Daredevil was a rough for me to go through by myself, so I just didn't.
Daredevil is perfect.
Okay, well, we're not getting into that this episode.
No, but I'm just saying, it could even go darker than Daredevil, I don't know, but the bathroom scene at the end gave me the feeling that this is going to be way closer to Daredevil than, like, say it's closer to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If we had to go on a spectrum here.
I mean, that's fair, because Loki's not really that violent. No. It's just about explaining all the time stuff.
Yeah, Loki
and that one really loses it at the end, so I'm really hoping that this one does not.
I'm hoping this one keeps the pacing.
Please land the ending, please God. But knowing that it has the same director as the first episode,
I think it will land the ending.
I think we'll be okay.
I think so. I hope so. But again,
the problem with that, the problem with Loki in that regard, honestly, is that.
I thought you said we were gonna get another show.
I know.
Let's save that. Let's save it for Loki. Okay.
It's that it.
Let's save
open-ended for a sequel, and this one isn't.
Well, we don't know that yet, because we
do know that because I looked it up.
We don't know that because we haven't seen the end episode.
I mean, but I know that because I looked it up.
It doesn't matter. They could still change that.
Okay, sure. Ow.
Don't ruin it for everybody else.
Ow.
Don't go ow.
Ow. She's hitting me over here.
I am not hitting you.
We're getting violent.
No, you're choosing violence.
No, I'm not. Mark sure did, though.
I mean, yes. He seems like the kind of... Him and Khonshu, I think, get along because they do choose violence, actually.
Yes. Well, and speaking of... we had to look up mid-episode because I was not going to wait until the end of the episode. We could have, but I didn't want to. Who voiced Khonshu, because you could tell that was not Oscar Isaac. Because I think very obviously they're trying to frame them as two separate entities, which is not something we've seen from Arthur thus far, but we don't know yet, obviously, because we're only in the first episode. We don't know a whole lot about Arthur and how his nonsense works yet.
No. Just that.
But at least with, like, Mark, I feel like Khonshu is, like, a separate entity from Moon Knight, specifically.
Just that, Arthur's basically the leader of a cult.
Yes, which is so my thing. I'm very into it.
And yet he also looks like that blonde dude from Die Hard. The big blonde
oh my
one.
god, he does.
He does. He has the same hair.
He does. Thanks for that. I can't unsee it now.
You're welcome.
But yeah, speaking of that, we looked up the voice, and
it's Eva Marie Abraham, aka Antonio motherfucking Salieri from Amadeus.
Which is your favorite movie ever.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time, yes. And if you have not seen it, you must watch it. It is as close to a perfect movie as I think it can get. And
Salieri absolutely chooses violence all the fucking time.
He does.
So it works very well.
It works very well. Like,
the voice is very great too. Like, it's deep and creepy, and I
love
it. And he just spends the whole time just berating poor Steven like he's Mozart over here. I said it.
Also, just the presentation of Khonshu is very creepy.
Oh, yeah.
It's very creepy. He looks intensely creepy. Just the way he would walk up behind Steven and just, like, be around there and that whole...
Just, hey, I'm hanging out on the side of the street here to freak you out.
I do need to show you that scene from It Follows, because that elevator scene reminded me exactly of that scene. The people who've watched that will know, the big guy coming from in the hallway. That's exactly the elevator scene in Moon Knight.
Yeah. But yeah, I, knowing as very little about this mythology as I do, which is not an absolute ton, but a little bit, and what we've seen of Khonshu, I can't wait to see if they're actually going to show us what Amit looks like. Because I know that the association is incorrect because they are not the same culture, and I'm prefacing this knowing this. But she's very Sphinx-like. She's part lion, part hippo, part crocodile. So she's kind of like a chimera, but also kind of like the Sphinx, which is also like a woman with a lion's body kind of thing.
Yeah, but which part is the hippo?
The hippo is the back, the lion is the front paws, and then the crocodile is the head.
So she got a big round booty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I see why Arthur's into her. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's the name means devourer of the dead. So basically, they're not incorrect in what they're showing you with, like, Arthur using a little bit of her power to, like, eat people's life essences or whatever the fuck.
Literally suck the souls out of them.
Yeah. So, like, basically, mythologically, at least the very little I understand, is that she does this for souls that are not deemed worthy when their hearts are weighed. So she works alongside Anubis, which is why, like, the monsters attacking Stephen in the museum looked like jackals.
Yes.
They did that on purpose, because she's an Anubis-aligned deity, basically.
Yeah, I was really fond of the jackal usage in there.
It was really cool. The whole museum sequence is really fucking neat.
Yes, because
the fight sequence, anyway. I mean, like, everything in the museum is really fucking cool, but...
This whole episode is not only gorgeous to look at, and you can tell they put serious money into it. Thank God. But, like... It's reminding me of all the good stuff that I actually liked about the first Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser in it.
Yes.
It just reminds me of all the good things about that movie.
Yeah, one that's not universally reviled.
Like the Tom
Like
Cruise
some
one.
that we shall not name. Yeah. Yeah.
The one that was supposed to start that whole dark universe thing that never happened.
Yup. Pretty much.
But we're not going to talk about that,
No, we're just here to talk about Steven and his cute goldfish.
His Finding Nemo goldfish.
His Finding Nemo goldfish and his amazing accent.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar, what the hell?
I mean, it's not the first time he's playing a Brit.
No, I know, but the difference is very stark, and I love it.
I also just love this implication that he's a weeb.
Yes.
I think that's the real reason why Khonshu doesn't like him. Not because he's like a weak little worm or whatever, like he said, but I think Mark and Khonshu found his secret stash of Yu-Gi-Oh cards in anime.
Yeah, and Khonshu's
very offended by it.
Offended by the wrongness of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yes.
That or Khonshu just doesn't like Steven's anime.
Probably. He's like, no. Like, you weenie, why are you looking at this shit?
Why are you watching Fruits Basket? Please. Please.
He would.
Can we watch something more violent, please?
He would hate Fruits Basket, that bastard. He would. Meanwhile, you said Mark would be into Helsing.
I mean, I really hope he would be.
I think he probably would be.
It's very I mean, I think Khonshu would be, at least. It's very violent. And I can use, vampires better than Morbius. in that assumption. So, yeah, if we're gonna go full weeb. Avatar, I love that film. No, Avatar isn't. Oh, you mean the anime?
The anime.
The anime.
Steven, stop it.
I love it so much.
That whole exchange was so good.
It's beautiful.
It's one of those instances where the Marvel humor really lands.
It did actually work.
It did.
It did actually work. It wasn't super cringy like it absolutely could have been.
Like it really
and has been in other stuff when they just try and push it way too hard, way too much, way too quick.
Yeah.
Every 2 seconds. Again, we'll get to that in other episodes.
When that humor lands and lands well, it's like, yes, it's so good, and it's this kind of stuff you want to quote all the time. When it fails to land, it's so cringy that it takes you right out of whatever you're watching.
I love that film.
I love that film.
I love that film.
Bless.
You would.
Bless.
You would.
He would love it. Bless Steven, honestly.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what we introduce in the next episode.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I'm interested just to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. I am, too. And I'm also interested in not having to re-record this episode for like a 3rd time.
Oh god, I hope not.
I hope not either, but I did check it this time.
All
Hello,
right.
everyone. I checked it this time.
Well,
so,
I think that's all we have to say on that.
Yeah, let me get down here. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this mini episode of FANSPLAINED.
A Chibi episode, if you will.
Chibi Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
If you enjoy what we do, consider donating on Ko-fi. Everything we make goes right back into the production quality of the show, which has been kind of a mess lately, and we're sorry. We're getting there. We appreciate all of our subscribers and everything you do, and we're thankful for anything from Hulk smashing that like button to your questions and comments on each episode, and especially sharing the show with your friends. This is typically a weekly media criticism and deep dive podcast, except when 1, we're behind, and 2, we're doing these mini reaction episodes.
And also, this is what happens when you don't do YouTube full time. So.
Yeah, we're just very busy, and we're sorry. But we're still working our way through the actual chronological order of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so again, we will do Moon Knight when we actually get there in a more serious capacity like we do everything else. So this week, we'll technically be doing Iron Man 3, even though that was last week, as well as Thor the Dark World as we move into Phase 2 with both of those films.
Yeah.
So
we finally got to Phase 2.
We finally got to Phase 2 after all our X-Men stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can find our updates here on YouTube, as well as on Twitter and Coffee at FANSPLAINED. If you want more of our conversations on the MCU and other fandoms, subscribe to our channel. Until next time, Salt Shakers, this has been Ryan
and M
with the FANSPLAINED podcast, and we will see you next week.